Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House File 3326 be approved and referred to the Committee on Capital Investment.
So moved. And
And I have an author's amendment.
please proceed.
And so I will move the A1 amendment. I'm going to say a little more as introduction about Homes for All, but just to get the author's amendment before you. Homes for All drafted their agenda in two ways, two different funding sources. And one was the Stadium Reserve, which is in this bill. The Senate has introduced it without that, and I'm going to delete that funding source of the Stadium Reserve so that I match the Senate version of the Homes for All agenda. I would move the A1 amendment.
Any discussion to the A1? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The amendment passes. Chair Hausman,
Mr. Chair, by now I think everyone in the room understands the hard work that the Homes for All Coalition has done to get us to this point, to bring us together in a bipartisan way to solve the incredibly challenging problem of housing and homelessness for those who don't have a safe place to sleep at night. Nothing else goes well if you don't have a safe place to sleep at night. So we're bringing the major portion of the Homes for All agenda to you today in House File 3326. We have some testifiers, and so that you understand, there are handouts in your folder, but Homes for All represents 240 endorsing organizations. Wherever I go to speak, whether I'm at the NAACP or Isaiah, on the wall is a statement that they support the Homes for All agenda. So this organization has done some amazing work in bringing those 240 endorsing organizations together. And they will present, and we have testimony.
Chair Hausman, members of the committee, my name is Allison Streich. I'm the Deputy Director of the Carver County Community Development Agency, and in my third year serving as co-chair for Homes for All, which is a statewide coalition. As many of you know, the Homes for All Coalition has more than 250 endorsing organizations and representation in every county in Minnesota. The coalition continues to grow because the affordable housing crisis is being felt statewide and across the continuum. Whether you talk to people from Pennington, Olmsted, Sherburne, Ramsey, and my home county of Carver, local officials, business leaders, and service providers will tell you they have an unmet housing need across the continuum. Minnesota's affordable housing shortage means we need emergency shelters around the state. In the past 3 years, homelessness has grown by 10% statewide, 9% in the metro and 13% statewide. And the unsheltered homeless rate is up 62%. For at least a decade, Minnesota has not been able to keep up with the housing development to meet our growing population, and more than 1 in 4, or over 572,000 households, pay more than they can afford for rent. Many individuals and families are one emergency away from becoming homeless, and displacement is already happening due to significant loss of naturally occurring affordable housing. Additionally, Minnesota's racial disparities persist. 40% of households of color experience housing cost burden compared to 23% of white households. And Minnesota is in the bottom 5 in the nation for racial disparities in homeownership. Like many issues, working to solve Minnesota's affordable housing crisis is complex, but a safe, affordable, and accessible home is a necessary foundation if we want to have better educational outcomes for our children, healthcare that has meaningful long-term benefits, and places for our growing workforce to live. You might be wondering how we got here. A combination of factors, but we know that cuts to federal funding that support affordable housing since the mid-90s is an important factor. States and local governments are now having to find ways to more significantly budget for affordable housing needs. We can make progress towards meeting Minnesota's affordable housing needs with larger and more predictable investments to help our neighbors and communities thrive. Support for House File 3326 would put $500 million in bonds towards the development and preservation of affordable housing around the state. This request incorporates $100 million to support preservation and safety upgrades to publicly owned housing and $400 million in housing infrastructure bonds to support deeply affordable housing, with a prioritization on 30% of area median income, both with and without supportive services. This bill also supports a one-time new use for shelter capital needs around the state. As the Deputy Director of the CDA, I'm responsible for helping to develop and preserve public housing within Carver County. Public housing is a critical piece of the housing continuum. With the vast majority of households headed by seniors and people with disabilities, public housing provides safe and affordable homes to low-income people who would otherwise lack adequate housing. The CDA utilized general obligation bonds to rehab Spruce Apartments, 31 units, complex consisting of 1, 2, 3, and 4-bedroom homes, for a total of $243,000, which was used for site work, interior work, electrical, and mechanical upgrades. $100 million in general obligation bonds for public housing would go a long way to ensuring repairs like these are completed, to preserving the 20,000 units of publicly owned housing in Minnesota. Before I turn it over to additional testifiers today on the Homes for All bonding request, I'd like to acknowledge the hard work that so many coalition members put into advancing this work around the state. We constantly are striving to be more inclusive, and we are especially thankful to those with lived experience helping to inform the work we do. Janelle Freeman Anderson and Rome Daring have given us their time and, more importantly, their perspective over the past 8 months. Homes for All looks forward to working with both chambers of the legislature and the governor's office to find a path forward to help meet Minnesota's affordable housing needs. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Streich.
And we're going to ask Paul Williams to be next.
Good morning. Chair Hausman, Vice Chair Howard, Minority Leader Tice, and members of the committee. My name is Paul Williams, and I am the President and CEO of Project for Pride in Living. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on the Homes for All bonding request, specifically to highlight the importance of housing infrastructure bonds and the impact it has on Minnesotans and communities around the state. Project for Pride in Living provides affordable housing and job training to nearly 13,000 people every year throughout the Twin Cities. PPL believes that the most effective way to promote long-term self-reliance is by stabilizing the economics of a household. Our dual focus on jobs and housing is the core of what we think makes a household thrive. Without a decent home, people can't live with the dignity that they deserve. Without job training to earn a livable wage, people don't have the opportunity to provide for themselves and their families. For close to 50 years, we have seen how central stable housing is to the ability of families to thrive. We see it literally every day. A family that has stable housing is able to begin tackling the multiple issues they may be facing. Healthcare starts to improve. Job searches get better results. Kids get to school. In short, housing is fundamental to a strong community. Today, PPL owns and manages nearly 1,600 units of quality, affordable apartments that are home to over 3,200 individuals and families literally every night. In 2018, PPL had the opportunity to participate in the Governor's Affordable Housing Task Force, a broad statewide assessment of the state's affordable housing needs. Among the many recommendations coming out of that assessment was a clear sense that we need to produce more affordable housing. In fact, as the chart here indicates, we need 61,500 additional units above and beyond what we currently produce to keep pace. And that's just for units serving the very lowest income folks. At PPL, we increasingly see this as a statewide economic competitiveness issue. The task force heard numerous examples of communities across Minnesota where the lack of affordable housing was an impediment to economic growth. Thief River Falls, Perham, Rochester, Austin, and certainly in the Twin Cities. Stable housing is an economic issue. It's a workforce issue. And housing infrastructure bonds are a critical tool to creating more of that housing. In 2018, PPL built 75 units of affordable housing in the Hawthorne neighborhood of North Minneapolis using housing infrastructure bonds. This project was a long-needed investment in North Minneapolis, providing options to residents that are normally scarce on the north side. new construction with critical amenities like underground parking, a fitness center where folks can work out and get healthy, and easy access to transit options. We are dispelling the myth that housing for people with lower incomes means lower quality. Many of these families are working families, folks who are earning maybe $30,000 a year. Using this critical resource, this family is paying roughly $850 a month at Eco Village in the Hawthorne neighborhood. A market rate two-bedroom apartment in this same neighborhood, likely in poor condition, can easily rent for $1,200 a month or more. Just after we opened Eco Village, I met Detrick, a welder and single parent who is raising his 9-year-old daughter. Detrick's experience speaks volumes about how critical stable housing is to his job success and his daughter's academic success. He told me how their new home felt like divine intervention and helped them go from hopeless to hopeful after his family experienced homelessness. HIB funding of this critical project meant that 130 individuals and families in North Minneapolis had the foundation of stable housing to build upon, to move from surviving to thriving. This summer, we are breaking ground on 2 new developments using housing infrastructure bonds. Last session's investment in HIBs makes it possible for us to move quickly to provide housing for 82 individuals and families in our community. Both projects are partnerships that will provide population-specific permanent supportive housing. One of those projects, Anishinaabe 3, is our 4th partnership in the Native American community and will provide 40 units of permanent housing with supportive services to Native Americans in Minneapolis' urban Indian community. A second project, Bloom Lake Flats, will offer 42 units of permanent supportive housing to individuals and families living with HIV, our second housing partnership with Clare Housing. All of these projects and the 157 units of affordable housing they represent would not have been possible without housing infrastructure bonds. These investments allow us to move more quickly on critically needed affordable units. Without these funds, several of these projects might sit waiting for 2 to 3 years for funding in the queue with the state. Currently, for every 1 project that does receive funding from Minnesota Housing, 3 projects are not able to move forward. Looking ahead in PPL's own pipeline, if necessary funding resources were available, PPL alone would be able to move forward on 4 shovel-ready projects, totaling 260 units of affordable housing across the city. That would probably touch the lives of at least 500 to 600 people with PPL alone, and there are many other organizations that are in that queue as well. Additionally, the expansion of the new eligible use would allow PPL to provide housing to people at or below 50% of AMI, median income, where there is tremendous demand. While units at 30% are certainly the most needed, units at 50% have become increasingly difficult to produce as well in the current funding landscape. Providing units in that 30 to 50% AMI range is an important component of creating balanced projects, actually, that meet community needs. So we see the impacts of affordable housing crisis every day and understand how quickly we need to work to increase the availability of affordable supportive housing for folks with lower incomes and people experiencing homelessness. I'm here to tell you that housing infrastructure bonds make that possible. It's a critical resource. Thank you for your time. Look forward to any questions.
And I believe April Chenard is going to be the next one, a nursing degree candidate.
Good morning, Chair Hausman and committee members. My name is April Chenard. I am the proud mother of 3 beautiful little girls, and I am in recovery from abuse, addiction, and homelessness. I'm here today safe and sober because of the Solace program. Only 4.5 years ago, I was a stay-at-home mother and a respite care provider for Scott County Human Services. I lived a fairly normal life. Following a very difficult separation, within 3 years, my mental health and codependency issues, alongside severe alcoholism and onset drug addiction, caused me to lose my children, my home, and my family. I remember trying to get back up on my feet by contacting the only women's homeless shelter I knew of. I hung up with their staff with a very heavy heart. There was no vacancy. My fate was sealed. I was living in a minivan, shooting at meth in constant desperation to not allow myself to feel anything. This is my life now. Several painful months later, I nearly lost my life and was shortly thereafter arrested and was admitted into intensive inpatient treatment. For 5 months, I worked very hard to improve my mental and emotional health, to free myself of an extremely toxic relationship, and to break the chains that addiction had on my whole life. 2 weeks before graduating inpatient treatment, I cried myself to sleep, completely overwhelmed by the realization that I had nowhere to go. With all the progress I had made, I was feeling more hopeless than ever before. I was facing homelessness again, and I knew there was very little hope of me getting my babies back, even less so of me remaining sober or safe. The very next morning, I received a phone call from Tyler at Solace Apartments. My name was referred to him. There was a brand new 3-bedroom available. Signing that lease was the most profound moment of my entire life, right next to the day we moved in and my daughters picked out their own bedrooms. There simply aren't words to genuinely express how grateful I truly am. I've made an incredible amount of progress. I'm starting classes April 7th to finish my degree. I will do great things, and I am raising three fierce little women who have an independent, strong, driven, sober, and healthy mother to look up to because we have a safe, stable home of our own. Honestly, though, I fell in love with too many women whom attended those treatment programs and put in that work right alongside me, but today aren't as fortunate because of the lack of shelters and programs like Solace. Thank you. I urge you to support House File 3326 because we need more affordable housing and emergency shelters for when housing isn't available.
And Mr. Chair,
Members, please hold your applause, but I do want to thank you, Ms. Chanel, for sharing your powerful testimony and for really putting this into focus for us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
and Mr. Chair, I think that story demonstrates that line that I use almost all the time. Nothing else in life goes well if you don't have a safe place to sleep at night. And when that happens, lives can be transformed. Sheila Cascaden, Olmsted County Commissioner, I think may testify on two bills. She's going to speak on this one. She may also return for the tax credit one.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Sheila Cascaden, Olmsted County Commissioner, but also today representing the Association of Minnesota Counties, not officially, but I'm working with the county association, is very concerned about housing as well. I want to just tell you a little bit about Rochester. You're going to hear about our homeless issues because our mayor is here and will be testifying shortly. But when you think of Rochester, Olmsted County, you think of a growing community with a lot of dynamic economy, and that is true. But you probably don't think about the fact that half of our workforce works in the hospitality industry to support the destination medical center that we're becoming. And that workforce does not earn that much money. And so as we look to what's happening in our community around housing, what we find, I see Representative Sauk, who knows our real estate market very well. We are building a lot of market rate apartments and a lot of in our community. I think we built about 5,000 in the last 5 years. We did the Maxfield study a few years ago. We are at 58% of the target that we had for that. But if you start to look at what's happening with housing for people who earn 80% or below of the median income, and particularly those earning 50% or below, almost nothing is happening because it's too hard to put the financing together because the developers are worried that they will build properties that won't meet market need or market demand. And so they have a lot of incentive to build to the higher end of the market. But another interesting thing that's happening in Olmsted County is in the last year, we only had 200 single-family home permits. If you look back 6 years ago, we had 900, and that was before the big growth spurt that started with our Destination Medical Center effort. So as our county looks at how do we work with the folks who are at needing housing stability because their life circumstance is such that they need a stable home, we can find some projects at the 30% or below, thanks to the bonding that you've passed in the past. We've taken advantage of that. But when you're trying to look at those families that are up to 60 or 70%, particularly below 50% of the median family income, there's almost nothing happening in our community. It's very hard to put that together. And I think our story is like that of many counties around the state. And then we look at the population that's getting older. And we haven't been doing very much at all. And we built several different kinds of housing complexes for the baby boomer generation and older, but also, again, at the upper income levels. And so if you're in a home, 3-bedroom Rambler built in the 1950s, you probably aren't going to be able to afford to move into that kind of housing, but what is available for you in our community so that you can move out of that family home into something that's easier for you to manage without a big mortgage. The proposals that you have before you today for infrastructure bonds, capital bonds for housing, particularly because you're focusing on including families up to 50%, ideally I'd like to see you go a little higher, but that would really make a difference for a lot of communities. I work in southeastern Minnesota with a regional group, and we've had 2 or 3 housing forums in the last year, and this housing problem is endemic across our entire state and across our entire region. There's a huge gap in what people are able to afford for housing and what developers are able to develop. So your infrastructure bonding will be very important. And Madam Chair, Representative Hausman and Mr. Chair, if it's okay with you, I would just say the next bill you're going to hear about, the tax credit bill, is also really important because government isn't going to solve this problem alone. We really need to work to develop a continuum of service, as you're going to hear from our mayor, starting with shelter, up through single-family homes. We need to preserve the homes that we already have. But we also know that government can't do it alone. So how do we get those employers engaged in making sure that there's housing available for their workforce? And across the state, you will hear the Association of Counties has a work group that's on economic development, workforce, and housing, because housing is core to dealing with our workforce shortage and with providing families with a stability and with the kind of structure they need to be able to raise their children well and stay healthy. So I just really support this proposal, and I hope that you will support Representative Hausman's bill and Representative Tapke's bill on tax credits. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And Mr. Chair, thank you to so many people in the room who've brought so much energy. And now we send this bill off to capital investment, and we all have to hope that the work of the session results in a bonding bill that is going to fund both housing infrastructure bonds and general obligation bonds. I'd like to conclude by focusing specifically on that $100 million for public housing with some statistics that NARO has given. They're going to be speaking at a subsequent meeting. But that sounds like a big amount, $100 million for public housing. But just to put it in context, since 2012, we've provided $35 million of general obligation bonds. In 7 years, that's $5 million a year for all public housing in the state. Here's the need as quantified by NARO. Projected public housing critical needs in Minnesota, $355 million. That's quantifying across the state, and we do $5 million a year. And that's why we're bold to say this year, let's ask for $100 million for public housing. We fall behind each year, and that infrastructure just requires more and more effort. So it's an aggressive agenda. I'm grateful to people in the room, to Homes for All, for having gotten us to this point, and now we're sending it off to capital investment. And so I would renew my motion that House File 3326 be referred to the Committee on Capital Investment.
Before that, could we just see if there are any questions from members? Are there any questions? Representative Stock?
I'd just like to make one comment, and I think that there's a nuance that's the undercurrent to our challenge that we have. And part of it is our own history of how we have been allocating funds and our projects to this need. This is not a new thing. I've been in real estate since 1988 as an official broker level, watching the market replace itself over time. These numbers that we're looking at are actually inadequate. So as astounding as it may have sounded as she went through the litany, these numbers are very, very small and inadequate in terms of meeting this need. Across the state right now, we are wringing our hands over whether we should go past $1 billion of bonding. It is on your backs, you the public, to change that attitude, you have to have a legislature that is willing to step up and change that number. It's an artificial number. It's just arbitrary in terms of size. But, and I sit on capital investment. That's why this is sort of a fire that's building underneath me. I'm also in part of, you'll hear later, I've got a type of project I'd like to promote also in housing. But the fact is we do have the ability to have enough money, or at least substantially more than we're talking about right now. The fact is we are very capable of moving past $2 billion. We just have to have a strong public push to give us the strength to make those decisions. The public has sent us up here because they looked us in the eye when we knocked on their door and said, yeah, I think you've got the strength to make decisions on behalf of the state. Yet year after year after year, we seem to crumble in the pressure of, oh, we really can't go past that $1 billion. Yes, we can. We need to have a public that is going to give us the strength to change the size of this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Hornstein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to concur with Representative Salk's comments and thank all of the advocates, not only in this bill, but the bills we're about to hear. It is through this large statewide coalition and grassroots organizing that we can get this done. And, you know, a couple of years ago, or several years ago, the request was $100 million. And I agree, Representative Salk, it's too modest. But everybody, it seemed, on both sides of the aisle had that $100 million etched in their brain for affordable housing. Now we have to have $500 million etched in our brain. Nothing less will do, and it's an important start. We live in the wealthiest society in the history of humankind. There's no reason why we cannot make these investments in affordable housing. So I thank you, Madam Chair. I thank the Homes for All Coalition for their excellent work in grassroots organizing.
And I have one brief question. I'm wondering if someone could comment on the statistic that over 500,000 Minnesotans are cost burdened. I think that should center us in that we have 500,000 people who are struggling to either afford groceries or their rent. I'm wondering if someone would comment on the impact on the loss of naturally occurring affordable housing to that number as well.
Chair Howard, my name is Carrie Johnson. I'm a policy co-chair for the Homes for All Coalition. And so I don't have specific numbers on that. Perhaps Minnesota Housing could answer that specifically, but I will say overall the fact that those statistics aren't necessarily readily available because we don't know how many units we are losing that don't actually currently have subsidy is concerning. So when we are losing naturally occurring affordable housing, that only adds more pressures onto the affordable housing market because we aren't able to produce those units. As the chart that I put up here shows the units that we need the most of, and as Paul Williams mentioned, we need on those bottom level, 50% AMI and under. And that's because the naturally occurring affordable housing units are able to serve parts of that market without that subsidy, but then if we lose those units, we no longer can make sure that those people have places to live at that income level. So loss of naturally occurring affordable housing is not just loss of housing, but it's also displacement of people, and it disrupts communities. I know in your community, it not only had an impact on the housing, but impacted the schools and the community as a whole.
And Mr. Chair, it looked as though Ann Mavity might be willing to come forward if you'd want a little more.
That was thank you for that answer. And I just asked it because, again, to highlight the need, we're here talking about a $500 million request, that doesn't quite meet the need. And even in that $500 million, we're not addressing the naturally occurring affordable housing issue, which is a huge need and interrelated as well. And just one comment I'd like to make about the number, and there's a lot of discussion. This session, we shouldn't be satisfied unless we make a historic investment in housing. And each session we've kind of set the new bar, but I'd like us to kind of think about this in the same way, just to make an analogy. You know, this last season, the Minnesota Twins set a record. They hit the most home runs they've ever hit before, and they didn't just barely set it; they blew it away. They set the major league record, and I'd submit that this year we should set our own home run record, and maybe this committee can, you know, be our version of the Bomba Squad, and we ought to set not just set the mark, but go bold, go beyond, and as Representative Hornstein said, that's going to take $500 million and more, and a continued sustained investment in housing until everyone in our state has access to an affordable, safe place to live.
And Mr. Chair, I think one of the reasons we can be hopeful about that, if you look at the authors of this bill, housing really has become a bipartisan issue, as illustrated on our floor votes last year and authors of these bills. So I think that gives us reason to hope.
Representative Bierman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for bringing the bill forward. I agree with all the representatives who have spoken out positively about this. This is a huge issue. I was meeting with social services in my own county in the last couple of weeks, and the wait lists just kept getting longer and longer and longer. And we all acknowledge the fact of housing stability being critical to our schools and to our economic security and how it affects healthcare. So this interrelated connection starts with housing. And so I agree with everybody who is saying this is the time to do a bold plan, and the concern about $1 billion, $2 billion, you know, this problem is just going to continue to worsen if we throw $5 million at it. And so that's completely inadequate. And I appreciated Commissioner Cascaden's comments also that this isn't a public solution entirely. We need to bring the private market in. So I'm anxious to hear Representative Tapke's proposal. This is public-private together, and the benefit will be for the entire public and private industry and the state of Minnesota. So thanks for the bill, and let's be bold here today. Thanks.
Chair Hausman, any final words?
I think that concludes, and I would renew my motion that House File 3326 as amended be referred to the Committee on Capital Investment.
All in favor, say aye.
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 No? Motion carries.